Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to your astrological forecast for the upcoming week. We are going to be discussing the week in between the two lunations, so the integration of the full moon in Capricorn, we just experienced now this past Thursday, and preparation for the next lunation in a row, which will be the new moon in Leo. And I'm recording this on Saturday, on the day when the North Node and Sun are making trine to one another, so this is a very positive aspect. However, this is playing up in your life because it doesn't always have to be easy. And then tomorrow we are going to be preparing for Saturn station in retrograde, and I'm going to add to this and take it to the next week in a moment. But before I get there, once again I would like to remind everyone that I'm running my 25% of all my services Cancer season sale. Is valid only until the end of Cancer season, so if you would like to book your reading with me now, you can do it at the discounted rate on my website. And also definitely check in my new offering, which is a collaboration with my partner Aaron, our alchemical metamorphosis process. And yeah, if you are interested, then definitely reach out. And without any further ado, I would like to open this space and call in on my higher self, my spirit guides, angelic team, ascended masters, starseed family, also ancestors, and all the beings of light that wish to be present for this recording, including the Akashic record keepers and my astrological team. Thank you for being here. Thank you everybody for watching. So as I already mentioned, I'm recording this on Saturday. We already experienced the exact Sun trine to North Node. Of course, the Sun and North Node had their most recent conjunction in the sign of Pisces, which, if I can find it very quickly, when that took place on 17th of March 2025, which was right after the Virgo eclipse and before the last eclipse in Aries. And as I already also mentioned, tomorrow on Sunday, on the day when I'm releasing this video, Saturn will station retrograde for the first time in the sign of Aries on 1 degree and 56 minutes. Saturn will re-enter the sign of Pisces on September 2nd, which is right before the eclipse season kicks off, and then Saturn will return back into the sign of Aries on February 14th, 2026. Saturn will station direct on 27th of November 2025 on 25 degrees and 9 minutes on Pisces. Then we're going to enter into a new week with Moon actually in the sign of Pisces, which is kind of a paradox because we are entering into a new week, new energy, but at the same time, Moon in Pisces is saying that there is something that's ending, the cycles are ending, who we were is ending, and especially in the after effects of this Capricorn full moon, which illuminated a lot of things to us, having Neptune already in retrograde, Uranus already in the sign of Gemini. There are all the things that became illuminated that are showing us what is no longer in alignment with where we're going, with the new version of ourselves, and what we need to take responsibility for to change. So enter into new week with Moon in a sign of Pisces, and this is a very, very quiet week, as I already mentioned in my previous astrological forecast. Until we technically enter into Leo season, this is a very quiet month. We have these very significant transits going on, kicking their punch, but then we have the time to integrate them because there is, not crazy amount of stuff happening in between in a meanwhile. So of course now we integrating the Uranus entering into the sign of Gemini for the first time, Neptune retrograde first time in Aries by Monday, Saturn retrograde first time in Aries, and also the integration of this full moon in Capricorn. Okay, so on Tuesday we'll have Mars sextile in Juno. On Wednesday, Moon will move into sign of Aries, so this is where new cycle will begin. Thursday, Moon will do her things, but there will be nothing major going on. And then on Friday, Mercury will station retrograde. So by the end of next week, we will have 4 planets retrograde: Pluto, Neptune, Saturn, and then Mercury will be joining the club, the retrograde club. On Friday the 18th, Mercury will station retrograde in Leo on 15 degrees and 34 minutes, and Mercury will remain retrograde until August 11th, which is right after the full moon in Aquarius, which will take place on August 9th. Mercury will station direct again on 4 degrees and 14 minutes of Leo, so Mercury will stay in Leo for the entire retrograde, which once again, being in a sign of Leo, will be helping us to reevaluate our sense of purpose, destiny, authentic expression. Mercury is stationed in retrograde on that 15 degree, which of course is a Sagittarius decan and a Gemini degree. So what story are we choosing to create, and what role are we going to play in that story? What is that authentic expression that we want to embody? So this is what Mercury retrograde will be helping us to recognize. And then right after Mercury stations retrograde on Friday the 18th, Moon will move into sign of Taurus, which is a very grounding energy, helping us to reconnect with our, embodied experience, our senses. And also on the same day, Friday the 18th, Venus will have a sextile to Mercury retrograde in Leo, and their last conjunction took place on March 11th, which was right before the Virgo eclipse, and at the time Venus was retrograde, and that took place in Aries on 8 degrees 48 minutes. So this is their first sextile since then. All right, then what else is going on this weekend? Yes, on Saturday the 19th, we will experience Sun making an exact square to Chiron. We know that this was already active during this full moon in Capricorn. It was technically squared by Chiron in a T-squared with Chiron. So there is again the pressure to step into this new direction, which is self-governed, which is saying, if I want to create a different reality for myself, if I want to experience my life differently, I need to take responsibility and make it happen. You know, I have to make it so. So this is a square between Sun and Chiron, and the last conjunction between the two of them took place on April 12th this year on 22 degrees 59 minutes of Aries, and that was on the day of the full moon in Libra. So this is the first square since, but once again, because Sun is special, it puts Chiron behind the Sun, which means crisis in consciousness square. So what are we releasing? And it is this attachment to the old versions of ourselves that are afraid to do something that is challenging the external authority, right? So this is the challenge. This is what we are learning to embody, especially now that Saturn will be retrograde in a sign of Aries, the self-government, the self-leadership, right? All right, then on Sunday, we are going to have Moon moving into the sign of Gemini, and that's how we will end this week and enter into a new one with Moon in the sign of Gemini, which of course is all about the choice. And this will be then ushering us into the week of the new Moon in Leo. And the first aspect Moon will make, of course, will be the conjunction to Uranus in Gemini. So this is once again accelerating the opportunity to create these timelines that you want to bring into manifested form, and that is a choice. That is a choice, and by then Mercury retrograde, it's saying, well, it depends how connected you are to yourself, to your inner guidance. So, as I mentioned, this is a very quiet week. I mean, it doesn't mean that nothing is happening, but it's not like crazy amount of things happening. Obviously, everything is slowing down because 4 planets retrograde, and yet there is that square, you know, the sextile between Mercury, Venus, the square between Sun and Chiron. But yeah, this is mostly focused on us integrating this new energy, integrating once again the Uranus moving for the first time into the sign of Gemini since 1949, which is, you know, a crazy energy over here. And then this Saturn Neptune, first time in Aries for a while. Well, first time Neptune in Aries in our lifetime, and this is the first retrograde in a sign of Aries. So the meaning has changed, everything has changed. With Saturn being in a sign of Aries, Saturn as the manifested form of this reality. Once again, if I want to create something different, you know, with the Chiron in Aries, something that is unknown and make me feel scared, you know, because if it's unknown, then how do I know? Like I was telling me in my last astrological forecast, that there is no guarantee, there is no cherry picking, there is no absolute. The universe say like, you know, that the universe doesn't say, oh sure, you know, I can guarantee you this is gonna come with. Like, no, there is no guarantee. And just, you know, the way I'm experiencing these energies in my own personal life and in my own personal experience, it is not easy. I mean, I don't know, obviously, what everybody else is going through, and I don't want to make this video about myself, but there is not much else to talk about. So, yeah, there are a lot of things resurfacing from the past, because, of course, full moon in Capricorn, that was the new moon in Capricorn, was the final lunation of 2024. So the energies of 2024 are coming around, and especially the energies of Pluto transit through Capricorn, you know, the 2008 until 2024, and we had 4 lunations in a sign of Capricorn, as I mentioned in my Capricorn full moon video last week. So there is all this energy that's resurfacing. Where did I feel disempowered? Where did I feel suppressed? Where did I feel oppressed? Where did I feel that somebody else governs my life, has the authority, has the control? So all of these things are coming up, all of these unresolved things, all of this karma, and this is perfectly in alignment with this Uranus in Gemini, this being the first lunation we just experienced, full moon in Capricorn, with Uranus in the sign of Gemini and Neptune in the sign of Aries retrograde, which is saying that, yes, if this doesn't feel good to you, that's okay, because you outgrown this. There are new timelines available, but in order to manifest those timelines that hold a deeper meaning for you, this meaning that you're seeking, that is now different from the meaning that you were seeking before, because now things, you know, came to the natural end, right? Natural conclusions, which again doesn't get lost on me, that we entering into a new week with moon in Pisces, right? So yes, so if you want to bring into these new timelines into manifestation, it is absolutely possible and available. And with Uranus in Gemini, it can happen much faster than even expected. However, we need to first clear the past. And this is what this Capricorn full moon illuminated to us. And like I said, like my life right now is a textbook astrology. It's literally textbook astrology, like all the stuff that's going on in the sky definitely manifested in my life right here, right now. So I know how this is showing up for me. Obviously, different people are experiencing these different, the energy is different depending where you are on your journey, you know, what your soul needs to learn at this time in order to prepare you for the next day of your journey. But the underlying theme will be the same. Where things that have been hiding, you know, in many cases, are now very visible, and we need to take responsibility to change them in order to create these new timelines, in order to become a frequency match. Like, for example, for me, you know, I cannot go and manifest these new timelines, experience this new reality the way that I desire if I don't resolve the stuff from my past. You know, these things that are hiding in my closet, this unresolved karma, these situations, circumstances, relational dynamic contracts that I hold towards other people. These contracts won't just disappear, you know, like whether it's with whoever it is in your life or whatever it is that you are in relation to in your life, these things won't just disappear on their own. This is what this full moon illuminated to us. Probably for many people, a lot of things came up, a lot of things were like right there in their face, like, oh my gosh, you know. They won't disappear on their own. They have to be transmuted, transformed, transcended. We have to change these energies into something different. They won't just disappear. So that's why we first need to neutralize them, zap it, you know, zap the charge. So that's why I feel that the choices I'm making in my life that are not necessarily pleasant, it's not necessarily what I want to do, especially my upcoming trip back to, you know, Slovakia, staying with my parents for probably the longest time since I left in 2004. But it has to happen because there is stuff that is unresolved. There is still a charge. There is still a karma that is there, right? That needs to be neutralized, that needs to be sorted out, released. Because I know, for me, again, talking about my experience of these energies, I'm kind of turning this into practical application of astrology, but why not? I know that the timelines that I desire that are already showing up, like, okay, this is a potential, this is a potential, this is a preference, absolutely. But they are not yet available fully, to take the place of the old timelines, because the old timelines are not fully resolved, they are not fully finished, they are not fully you know, the ends are not tied up, right? The loose ends are not tied up. And this is also why I feel we don't have any more lunations in Capricorn this year. As I mentioned in my Capricorn full moon video, this is the one and only lunation in Capricorn we have in the entire year. Last year we had 4, this year we have only 1. Next year we're going to enter into a new year with the new moon in Capricorn. But this year we don't have any new moon in Capricorn, because there is just the illumination of the past, these after effects of Pluto being completely done with Capricorn since November last year, right? And as I mentioned in my previous videos, you know, again, it doesn't get lost on me, the first 2 lunations, well, 3 lunations you can even say, with Pluto back in the sign of Aquarius was the new moon in Sagittarius, full moon in Gemini, and then we ended the year with the new moon in Capricorn on the final day of 2024 for some of us. For some it was on the 30th. So what is the choice? What is the choice that we are making to create these new timelines, which, you know, with Jupiter now in the sign of Cancer, will be allowing you to play the most expansive role of yourself, but you have to tune into it, you have to tap into it, you have to feel all these things that you don't want to feel, you have to go face to face with all these versions of yourself that have been hiding in a shadow. We know Lilith is still very active, Lilith in square with Pluto retrograde. Lilith is still very active, so a lot of shadow is coming up, and it needs to be looked at, it needs to be resolved. Like, okay, I can say I didn't start a fire, it's not, you know, why is this my responsibility now? I didn't start it, it's not my fault, it's not my problem. But if it's showing up in your life, if it's on your plate, if it's in your reality and you dealing with this, it is your responsibility, because whatever doesn't get resolved by the previous generation gets passed on. You know, our ancestors did their best, they learn in many cases hard way, in many cases harder way than we had to learn because of the life they lived. And they passed on that too, the wisdom, the experience, the knowledge, and now we can discern, is this still something that's applicable to my life? Is it useful or not? No judgment, it just is what it is. But at the same time, we were being passed on responsibility for certain things that were not resolved because these people, also past versions of ourselves, didn't have the tools. We didn't live in a time where the tools were available. The level of consciousness was not where it is now. So now all of these things that are unresolved, and whether they belong to you because of your early life in this lifetime, your ancestors, or is the collective energy, is irrelevant. There is an energy that is unprocessed, unresolved, and it needs to be done. The job has to be done. In order for us to get to the 9 and 10 of Pentacles, we have to go through the 8 of Pentacles and the 7 of Pentacles and everything that comes before. Right? We have to have the investment and we have to work, in order to get where we want to go. So I feel with this Neptune in Aries, which is this like new energy, this energy of kind of like, this new fire is being reignited, that, okay, there is something to live for. There is a potential to have a different life. There is a potential to experience life differently, to manifest the version of this reality that I personally want to experience and I want to bring into my consciousness, right? And obviously, like I said, with the Uranus in Gemini, and that's, I think I might have shared it in one of the Instagram videos, like on Tuesday, literally on Tuesday, when me and my partner were recording with Lada, it was one day after Uranus moving to the sign of Gemini. I thought it was a week before. Like literally, I had to really think about, when did Uranus move into Gemini? And it was only a day before, and I felt already a full week passed. Like I struggled with the concept of time and space for some time, but now it's something completely different. It's like literally on Tuesday I thought it was Friday. It was like crazy stuff. So that's what I mean with this Uranus in Gemini. The concept of time and space is becoming something completely different. So that's why these timelines that you can already tap into, feel into, like vision for yourself, even if it's just for a tiny split of moment, they already exist and they already come in, So now with these retrograde energies that we have going, it is taking us inwards to reevaluate what it is that is preventing me from bringing this into my life, what it is that I have to change, what it is that I have to take responsibility for again. So this is, with this Cancer Capricorn axis, because we are still in Cancer season and Capricorn Full Moon, but we just experienced, and now obviously Sun is entering into the final decan of Cancer, which is the Pisces decan, and we have this trine, right? This trine, I mean, isn't it already on a Pisces degree? Let me just double check that. 19 degrees, still Scorpio decan, 19 degrees is this trine which is going on today. So that's 7, that's Libra, yeah. Scorpio, balancing, again, what are we balancing? The Lilith is there. We are balancing the shadow, with the light. So we can come to the point of neutrality, and it is the same with this karma, Capricorn, karma, Saturn, the chronos, the time and space, the things that are unresolved, the energy stuck in time and space that we can then feel into through Cancer. Like this doesn't feel good, this doesn't resonate with me anymore. We have to change this, we have to neutralize this. This is not an energy we want to be bringing into with us into these future timelines, this Uranus in Gemini, which we can also already tap into, tune into. So there is the carrot, there is the carrot with Neptune, Neptune in Aries, this you can say I'm being delusional, this Neptune in Aries, that I think like, what do I think? I'm just a fool, that do I think it's so easy, to bring these things into manifestation? But there has to be the hope and trust that, maybe it is foolish, maybe I am delusional, maybe, I believe in miracles or la la lands or fairy tales. But if you lose that hope, then what's the point, right? Then why even bother? Why even try? Why even go through the whole cycle again? So that's why the Neptune in Aries, brings you the carrot, and it makes you to reconnect with your true essence. And the desire, with the Mars in Virgo, which, as I said, we enter in the week with the Mars South Node conjunction opposition to North Node. Did I mention that? I hope I mentioned that. We are entering into a new week with Mars conjunction to the North Node, right? Mars conjunction. Oh, is it the next week? Oh, no, sorry. That will be the following week. We're going to end the week, the next week. Yes, this is what I mean. The timelines are really muddy in my life right now. So yeah, so we are going to end the week, next week with the moon in Gemini, which is the timelines, moon giving us the choice, and Mars conjunct the south node opposition to the north node. Yeah, that's of course it's going to be for the conversation about the new moon in Leo, but it's good that it's good to mention it. So again, going back to this Neptune ruled by Mars, Saturn ruled by Mars, and Mars is in the closing phase conjunction to the south node. The carrot is being dangled. It says that, okay, here is the fantasy. Here is the fantasy, that it's going to prompt you to have the desire to start this new cycle, because otherwise, why bother? I'm tired. We all tired. Everybody's body tired. Everybody's tired because this Saturn in Pisces, after this Pluto is done with Capricorn, we are all tired. We are all just like, I just don't have it in my tank. I just don't know how to even motivate myself or something. Many people I hear saying that. Sometimes I feel that way. But this is a carrot, the hope, the vision, the fantasy, the illusion, or whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter. That pops you forward and say, there is something there, something that you might want to experience, that you might want to desire, with the Mars in Virgo. There are more things to be yet experienced as a human. I'm not going into traditional definition of what Mars in Virgo represents. Virgo is the embodied form of spirit, right? It's the human's journey, hero's journey. Mars is how Pluto acts consciously. Pluto is the soul desire for incarnation. So if you look at Mars in Virgo through that lens, through that perspective, Mars in Virgo is saying to you, I am initiating you into having a new experience as a human. That might be something you might want to consider. And now as Mars is coming into closing phase conjunction with the South Node, which correction is going to happen the following Monday, not this Monday, the following Monday, 21st of July, we can learn from the lesson of the past and say we don't have to keep recreating it. We don't have to keep repeating it, right? So this is what all of these retrograde planets, and of course Mercury retrograde, being in Leo ruled by the Sun in Cancer still. And as I mentioned, this upcoming week, the Sun is going to move into the sign of Cancer, into the final decan of Cancer, which is the Pisces decan, in preparation for the following week, ingress into Leo, because we're going to be experiencing the new moon in Leo on 2 degrees, which is the choice. 2 degrees, the choice. So we are entering into the week with moon in Pisces. Sun is moving into the Piscean decan of Cancer. So there is a lot of culminations, because after this illumination with the Capricorn full moon, and also these planets being retrograde, by the end of the week we have 4 planets in retrograde. We're not done yet. There will still Chiron will station retrograde before the end of this month. It's a lot of introspection that is taking place, and that's why I feel that the astrology is being very kind and patient, because there are not crazy amount of things being, thrown our way right now, because it's all this very pivotal energy, very transformational energy that we are being introduced to, right? Saturn Aries, Neptune Aries, both retrograde, Uranus, Gemini, right? And, obviously Mercury, how we communicate, how we connect, how we decipher, what all of this bloody means to each of us. Currently the ruler of Uranus, let's not forget, Uranus the ruler of Pluto. Mercury going retrograde in the sign of Leo, which is your heart. This is about us reconnecting with the voice of our soul. So yeah, so it's going to be an interesting week, I feel, and it's going to bring different things for different people, right? Depending where is your focus, where you focus your attention, and whether we want to still keep pointing the finger to the other, like, it's not my fault. Why should I sort it out? It's not my fault. Somebody else did it, right? But if I'm experiencing in my life and I want this to be resolved, then I have to tidy it up, right? Because, unfortunately, a lot of people that caused the fire are not here anymore. So, yeah. So anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to pull some cards, because I feel that perhaps, especially I feel in this Cancer season, there is not very much to say, because we have to feel into it, and it will mean different things to different people, especially as Neptune is in Aries. It will mean different things to different people. So let's just ask the Moonology messages. I think this is a good deck for the in-between lunation time. Moonology messages, what is the message of these after effects of Capricorn full moon in between the 2 lunations, soon to be entering into Leo season? After effects of Capricorn full moon, what is the message for the collective? Okay, there were 2 cards. Let's just sort out on one focus on one. What is the card? Okay, there is still 2 cards flew out, so I guess that's what it is. Communicate and patience. This is something that definitely I can resonate with very strongly. It says talk to the moon. You know, moon is obviously you, it's your inner world. Talk to yourself. You know, you can also see a lot of orange, a lot of yellow, you know, the solar plexus, the sacral chakra. Reconnect with your emotion. Where do you feel afraid? Where do you feel threatened? What do you desire? What brings you the sense of joy? What do you want to manifest? So yeah, talk to the moon, you know, like wishing on the star, wishing on the moon, whatever. But also, and this is like well, you know, this is the crescent one, so it doesn't matter, you know, foundation or release doesn't matter. You know, you create foundation by releasing what no longer resonates with you. But in any case, also communication between one another. Sometimes it's hard, you know, sometimes the other party is not in a place mentally, emotionally, or whatever to understand. So yeah, so maybe sometimes we need to speak to their higher self, you know, through the moon or whatever, you know, like rather than having a conversation with the person that might be, again, Cancer, ego mind, might be lost in the role that they play, that they came here to play for you. You know, we came here to play these roles for one another. So rather than speak to the actual physical person that might be in their ego, and when you speak to their ego, the ego wants to always win. So there is not really any winning, you know, because the ego always wants to be right. Speak to their higher self. Speak to their higher self. You know, this is again about the Cancer, you know, connect with your emotions, connect with the voice of your well, yes, so I mean, it's all connected. Cancer, Leo, doesn't matter. So yeah, speak to yourself, to your inner self, to your essence of who you are. And if the person that you want to resolve the conflict with is in their ego, or you cannot really come to a mutual resolution, speak to their higher self, you know, and then there is a hope that things will change. And yeah, patience, right? You can see in between the 2 cacti, all these moon phases, it will take time, you know, have a patience, because there are a lot of things, that's what I feel, there are a lot of things that are happening, there are a lot of things that are changing and shifting, and we might think like nothing is happening, I'm just drowning here in this mud of the past, but there are things happening, things are moving. Just have patience, you know, patience. And this is a good opportunity, like I said, because the transits are quiet until we enter into Leo season. I think this is the last week of it. This is a good opportunity to just be, take a time, you know, like 4 of Swords. I know this card has been coming up for me quite a bit recently from readings I received. 4 of Swords, just take a rest, you know, take a rest. This is the right time for it before the energy speed up again, you know, Leo season all about fire. So, and at the bottom is cut your losses. I think this is about the Pisces, you know, moon in detriment, cut your losses. And yeah, what's underneath, take a breath. You know, this is all about the pause, you know, and certain wars are unwinnable. You know, you cannot win. And again, you cannot win the war with the war. You cannot win talking to people's ego. So yeah, this is what I feel, you know, communicate, if not with the person, with their higher self, and understand yourself, talk to yourself, understand yourself, what is behind all of this, have patience, and if necessary, just cut your losses, because sometimes it's not worth to be right. Yeah, you know, do I need to be right at you know, because everybody has their perception of reality. There's this, you know, there's the Sagittarius archetype, so from their perspective they might be right, you know, because they will give you the evidence. From your perspective, you are right. So, you know, sometimes we just have to take a step back and yeah, take a breath, like that other card was saying. Okay, I was for whatever reason drawn to use this deck. Oh, actually 2 decks, but I reached out for this one first. Okay, all the decks that I chose I was drawn to, but this is the Quantum Oracle from Sandra N. Taylor, and I feel that we're doing so many quantum leaps right now. So we're going to talk to this one first, but then there is another deck, which that was the first deck that popped up for me. I'm gonna use it next, and we're gonna see what that one says too. So okay, so we have the message from the moon. Just be patient, you know, like communicate the way that is actually worth your while. If you need to cut your losses, take a breath, just, you know, still point. And now let's see the quantum leap, because let's see what actually is really happening behind the curtains, you know, while we think nothing is happening. Okay, we have two cards, and the one was reversed. Taking steps. Okay, maybe it's not the time to take steps. This was intention. Yeah, check what is the intention, because this card was reverse, you know, so the person moving forward. That's what I mean. It is not the time to move forward. It is not the time to make some massive, crazy changes in your life right now, you know, with all of these energies, especially so many retrogrades soon to be. It is about what is the intention, where is it coming from, what is it actually, what is the goal, you know, what is this goal that I'm moving towards, you know, be sure, like, where is it coming from? Is it, you know, like number 4, is it going to create the foundation, number 4, the foundation of the reality that I want to experience, yeah? And number 4 is again the Cancer. Is it, am I acting as the person that I want to become? Or am I acting from the place of wounding as the old version of myself? This is all these Capricorn Cancer things, you know? So yeah, and then the honoring path, number 7, again, intention. Number 7 is the Libra, you know, the justice, the honoring path. You know, like, I feel this is like, so at the end of the day, you can sleep with a peace in your heart that you've done the right thing based on what you knew, you know, the right thing for you and the others. But you can look yourself in the mirror and not feel any regrets, you know. So that's why I feel that right now is the time to take a step back, not to go forward necessarily, because there are a lot of things that has to be digested, Cancer season, but also look at what is the intention behind it, what is the true meaning, what's happening actually, what is actually happening below all these layers, what is actually happening. And yeah, and this is the honor path. So at the end of the life, when you go back to spirit, and this is number 7, which is like a Libra, right? Number 7, and also spirit is saying it's a chariot. Yeah, the conscious and unconscious. It's all about the balancing, that at the end of the day, you know, you did the best you could. Sometimes that means making mistakes, you know, and then sometimes that needs to be done in order to see where things are actually out of balance, where I didn't see and now I can see, you know. There's the Capricorn Full Moon, now I can see. So that is the intention, is to leave this world a better place than you found it. It's not up to you to fix it, the world itself, but through your experience, you know, like that I have lived a life that I don't regret, you know. Because you can see she has all that harvest, you know, she harvested what she came here for. What is it that my spirit came here to do? So at the end of my life, I achieved what I came here to achieve. And in many cases that is, you know, connected to this balancing, right? Healing, balancing. And then at the bottom is the dark thoughts, you know, the number 3, consciousness, reverse. It's time to move away from that, you know. And I think we are moving away from that, because a lot of things became illuminated. And, you know, the number 3 is about co-creation. Now with this Uranus in Gemini, things are happening very quickly. So in a sense, we don't really have time to, you know, stay stuck in certain energies or any energies for too long. So that's what I feel, you know, with that path. You know, whatever you're going through, you're not going to be stuck there for long. You know, this is a reverse card. You're not going to be stuck there for long. A path will be shown, because your soul is guiding you. Your soul is trying to come online and be in charge, right? And eventually we'll have no choice, you know, like whatever is meant to be will be. So, okay, now let's see about this elemental oracle. This is the one that really wanted to speak, is the Stacey DeMarco elemental oracle. So I'm curious, because obviously, why? Why are we doing this oracle deck? And I don't use it very often, but yeah, let's see. I'm sure there is a good message for us there. So let's see what the elements want to share. And I love the back, you know, it's like all these different directions, you know. So what do the elements want to share at this time with this full moon in Capricorn? Oceans, number 3, another, well, it's 30, but it's another 3 oceans. You know, like you are 70% made of water, and so is the earth, you know. And it says bravery. You know, you cannot move the world, but you can move your own world by understanding it. You know, the ocean, understand the waters within yourself. You are 70% made of water. The earth is the same. So yeah, and this is like, you can see the person is in white, a lot of birds. So the other message I'm getting with regards to this card is that free yourself from the responsibility that many of us carry, that is many of us feel this sense of responsibility for the entire world. Like, I have to feel everything and I need to fix everything. But this world is not for you to fix, and you cannot fix or change other people. So this is about, being courageous to face because like so many of us just wants to get distracted by other people's drama and get involved by other people's lives. But that's because we don't want to deal with our own, we don't want to have to excavate the time in our daily schedule to just sit and look at what is actually going on with me inside my world, right? So you are on the top of the world. When you master your emotion, which is something that is coming around over and over again, when you master your emotion and rise above, what's going on that is trying to pull you into something that you don't necessarily want to be part of, that's when you are free. The mastering of the thoughts and mastering of your emotion. Be on the top of the world. You are in the world, but not of the world. We only visitors here. We only here on a borrowed time. So understand yourself, and by understanding yourself, you can then better understand others and understand everything. And by making the difference within your own inner world, you can change the world, but you're not gonna move it the way you think. You're not gonna move it by pushing. You're gonna move it by becoming. So yeah, the purity, and you can see the light. So yeah, bravery, be courageous to change your own world by tapping into the waters that are creating who you are, right? Their expression. And then you can change the rest. And at the bottom we have again water. Yeah, that's what I mean, water. I'm literally getting goosebumps. And there is the dove, the peace. Be at peace with what is. Again, the world is not yours to save. The world is not yours to change. Learn from the past. Learn from the wise elders. Look, she's half in the water, with the dove. Find the peace in what is, and this is the 29, which is the 11th, the mass number frequency. This is very much the Jupiter in Cancer, and I mean, this lunation was trined by South Node and sextile by the North Node, ruled by Jupiter. And obviously Jupiter currently is ruled by the Moon, so all these lunations have impact on Jupiter. How we expanding, how we growing, how are we changing, by truly understanding the emotions, So yeah, this is really interesting. And again, the number 30, the number 3, co-creation with the spirit. We are creating a new world, but in order to create a new world, we have to understand how we got to this place, how we created the one that we are experiencing at the moment. And again, in order to get somewhere different, we need to neutralize the energy, neutralize the peace, the balance, let it go, release. That reminds me of that cut your losses, that one. What are we holding on to? Where are we being stubborn? The air is the ram. Cut your losses so you can start anew. The air is the Fool. You can start anew, the full moon. This is kind of like, it looks to me almost like a full moon in Aries, which of course is in October. So let's see, in October, I'm sure there will be more information with regards to what we are experiencing. And that will be the square, the square to this moon. Because, well, the square to Cancer, Cancer, Libra, that will be the Libra season, where is the full moon in Aries. So yeah, let's see, let's see what we are experiencing now. We'll potentially have, and I'm listening to it because obviously this is something that I'm curious about. In October, it might be balanced, but we have to go through the work, we have to feel the feels. We have to master our inner world. Okay, let's go to Sacred Destiny. And then I'm just going to pull the major arcana and we're done. Okay. These are very karmic energies, I feel. Very karmic energies that we are resolving at this time. That's why everything feels so dense And even though it's fast, it might feel slow. It might feel like, for me personally, it feels like moving through molasses, but things are changing. We just don't see them yet. So let's see what is the sacred destiny's message. What is actually going on? What is actually going on behind all of this that is on the surface? What is actually going on? Voyage. Yeah, we are preparing for the new journey, and look at the journey, and the flying whale. And we know the whale are very mysterious, they are the wisdom keepers. So yeah, we're preparing for a new voyage of wisdom, This is a completely new chapter that humanity is going to be entering into. So we are preparing. And solitude, yeah, again, Spirit is not giving you anything. You find the answers in solitude, find the answers within. Just like this water, the wisdom, creation, water. What are you creating from how you think and feel? So yeah, mastering both in solitude, under the full moon, a lot of things became illuminated. Yeah, even here, it looks like a full moon. Yeah, voyage. What journey are you preparing yourself to experience next? And it's a choice, right? We're going to end the week with Moon in Gemini and then the Mars conjunct South Node. What are you choosing? With the Mercury retrograde in Leo as the ruler of Mars, South Node, and Uranus. What are you choosing for your next timeline? What did you graduate from in the previous timelines? So now you have a new choice. How do you want to experience the reality going forward? Yeah. And we have to take responsibility for that choice. That is the in conjunction between Gemini and Capricorn, right? That's how you grow. You won't see. You have to feel it. Because the life will always show you. The mirror. Okay, final card, the major arcana. Okay, one jumped out straight away, the devil. Yeah, that is the Capricorn. Here we go. What are you bound to? What are we afraid to let go of? The losses. What are we holding on to? In many cases, is the ego identity, the role that I have to play and you have to play for me. When you release yourself from it, you release the other too. Yeah, but this is also about taking responsibility. It's easy to play victim, right? And then it's the Wheel of Fortune. So this is really the year, and I've been talking about this for a whole year, the year number 9. This is the year where we have the opportunity, and it's absolutely possible to free ourselves from the old karma, from the roles we play to one another. Because we promised, okay, I'll come here, I'll do this, you do that, then we switch, No more. Now we're going to co-create with the Spirit. We have to neutralize this energy so we can create something new with the Spirit. 29/11, and it's all gonna happen next year. The Wheel of Fortune, the year number 10, 2026. So this is why we're going through all this, the process of metamorphosis. This is a card of it's the Jupiter card, right? Yeah, Jupiter, Temperance is Sagittarius. Jupiter card, look at the big thing. It's like Jupiter, grand, You grow bigger by being challenged, The diamonds are created under pressure. So are the pearls, the grit, So we let go of this past that no longer serves, because Saturn, it's going into Pisces once more, but then it's done, Then it's starting a whole new cycle for us next year. Saturn and Neptune are going to have a conjunction in February on that anaretic 0 degree. So yeah, should we have a look what's under the Wheel of Fortune? The Empress, the new earth. Number 3 again, the creation of the new earth, the fertile ground. The ground is becoming fertile from this shadow, from these ashes of the past, and the new will grow, and you decide what that is. Based on love, what you love, what are you invested in, what are your values, what are your needs, what relationship, you want to invest into, what do you want to cultivate, and all that yellow, we have to have the power, the strength to do that. So yeah, this is pretty cool, you know. So yeah, whatever you want to manifest, you know, Venus, then will be manifest next year, but it depends whether you're willing to let the old go. And this is for everyone, myself included. So anyway, guys, almost 45 minutes. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I hope this was helpful. Perhaps it offered some insights with regards to your personal experience of these transits and you know, after effects of Capricorn full moon and all the everything else that's going on. So I would like to thank my higher self, spirit guides, angelic team, ascended masters, the elementals, Akashic record keepers, astrological team, all the beings of light that were present, including our ancestors, of course, and Starseed family. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you everyone for listening. Once again, if you wish to book a reading with me, that's available now on my website at a discounted rate until the end of Cancer season, so you have a bit more time. And also, if you would like to work with me and Aaron on your alchemical metamorphosis process, then reach out. The offer is there, the introductory price until 8/8 portal. And with that, I wish you all a wonderful week ahead, the technically final week of the Cancer season, and I'll speak to you again next week about the new moon in Leo. Much love everyone, and bye for now.